Hello, welcome to SquishiVision. I'm exhausted because I spent the entirety of the weekend, the weekend including Friday evening, operational supporting the Great North Run in England, providing medical support, and I've been on my feet a whole lot. And I was at work today, and I've got work tomorrow, and then a train journey for a meeting. So I'm going to react to this pretty quickly because if it's not very obvious, I need to go to bed. Or at least nap. So this was episode 4.5 through Rings of Power season 2, called Eldest, named after the eldest, Tom Bombadilly, who makes a live action appearance in Lord of the Rings. Now, I think I've said before, I've not read the books. I've read A Hobbit. I've not read anything. I've not got around to anything else yet. But needless to say, I do understand the lore significance somewhat of Tom Bombadilly. He's very much an oddity that the repeated article explains, in that he kind of just comes up completely warp affects the MacGuffin of the books, sings a whole bunch, and then just kind of like pieces out. I think he's the one who gives the hobbits their swords, and it's honestly entirely irrelevant from what I understand. Like his removal, people when they comment on his removal of Lord of the Rings, they do so with a kind of affectionate admittance that his removal from the films is necessary from what I've read about his contribution to the plot. Sorry, you I'm tired. Totally, he's something he probably works in the books, but not in the films. And I think Rings of Power as a TV show is an excellent place to kind of introduce him. And I think he captures what I imagine is the best way to translate it on screen. There's definitely some whimsy and levity there, but he also has this, you can tell he's this power to be reckoned with. He's this kind of overly force. So we follow the story of, the elves. Galadriel and Elrond are continuing to have a difficult relationship that I do kind of enjoy watching, where they're struggling to balance the fact that they're friends who care with each other with their duties and with their perceptions of how they think they should be dealing with the issues. And honestly, I feel like I really, really want them to, I said I really, really want them to make up, as if I don't actually know that they will, because I know what happens in the Lord of the Rings. That's how invested I am. But it also makes it somewhat painful that they're having these, things. And it's even to the point where, Galadriel stays behind at the end to fight the orcs on her own, and Elrond is like, she's not sacrificing herself to protect us, she's doing for the ring, and that's a pretty damning thing for a friend to say. That being said, Elrond's a pretty good leader. Like, he hears out, does the right things, hears out Galadriel. When Galadriel tries to go the route of appealing to their friendship by addressing him by his first name, he shuts that down respectfully and politely by referring to her back by her rank. I don't think I know he's not right by the rings, because obviously the elves keep to hold on to them and use their power. But I do actually. Actually, I think in the lore they realise what the actual purpose of the rings are and take them up in time. So maybe actually Elrond's right. This is what I get from reading the books. He's an effective military commander. He recognizes he doesn't have enough history to recognize how one is meant to defeat the Wrights. He's able to order his crew around to make decisions, be decisive, be assertive. Excellent. And I love the kind of the disagreements between the two. I think it's a nice kind of dynamic. I love the it's a fairly common red shirt, especially because most of them survive, but I do like the auxiliary elves in this episode. I like when they're giving kind of individual personalities and like lines, not just like background characters that do interact with the plot. It's kind of nice. It's kind of the adventures of another story being dragged along on this, and I would like to have like a spin-off or something where we follow them. The next sequence of Galadriel at the end was cool. It feels like we're still saving something bigger for later on. So it wasn't like that impressive, but it was pretty decent. I think she was very much kind of embracing the whole just being a passive distraction. Stranger's plot is very interesting. Obviously, he meets Tom Bombadilly, and it's interesting because he's not like it's not a Yoda situation where he doesn't realize because obviously he doesn't realize that Tom Bombadilly is what he's looking for. He bumps into Tom Bombadilly, but he's polite, respectful the entire time. It's not a Luke Yoda situation where Luke becomes impatient. He tries very hard to kind of speak to the person with respect, and then once that he realizes that Tom Bombadilly is the person he's looking for. They do have a genuinely interesting conversation. Obviously, Tom Bombadilly is like, "Well, you're not ready for me to teach you, and I don't think you're at the right stage for it yet." And he does pass on the message that it's Gandalf's job to defeat the Dark Wizard and defeat Sauron. The identity of Dark Wizard is interesting because, okay, so again, I've not read the books. From what I understand the lore, there only ever was 5 wizards. I was looking at Wikipedia article, the Lord of the Rings wiki article before this. I might have I skimmed it, so I missed a bit. I think but I always remember there was like a limit. Like I always remember at least we knew which wizards were around. Not all of them feature in a story. I don't think the blue wizards ever actually do feature in a story. But I'm pretty sure like all the wizards were like we knew who they all were. They were all mentioned, and so I feel like we shouldn't like. I think this episode it confirms that the Dark Wizard is an Istar rather, and if they are an Istar, then they have to it's point all the roads it's very heavily pointing towards this being Saruman, and it would be the best kind of guess. But again, just from what I know about the films, I thought Saruman's whole deal was that he started off generally good, got corrupted by the promise of power, and then turned bad. Whereas in here, he's already established as this kind of formidable, evil, oppressive force that's harming people. So we'll see where that goes. Because obviously Gandalf and Saruman end up as friends. At least Gandalf trusts Saruman and like respects him, and it's only until his betrayal that he returns on that. But he's being presented here with the kind of prospect of you have to defeat the Dark Wizard, which suggests the Dark Wizard isn't Saruman, or something else happens that kind of changes his mind, that establishes that he's wrong about that. So that's where we leave that. Nori and Poppy end up at a village, and we're getting some nice kind of like teasers to the lineage here between the halflings and the hobbits. And they comment on this is where kind of the halflings come from, and they went off to look for like a place, and they basically describe what is essentially Hobbiton. But the person who went out to look for Hobbiton didn't find it, and they ended up becoming the Half-Foot Wanderers. That was nice, a cute kind of moment. I'm about to pass out, so we're gonna wrap this up. We skip the dwarves, who is Numenor people, but we do follow quite extensively. I think the other massive plot in this was around their Isildur and Esther. I forget her name now, but the wild woman. There's some flirting going on between her and Isildur, but then it's established that she used to be one of the wild ones. It's left ambiguous as to whether she joined him because she, believed in Addar's cause, or if it was just about technique. It's strange. They seem to like allude to the fact that it's like, oh, we understand some people make harsh decisions in the moment to survive, and that seems to allude to them being like, we understand that you might have actually like had to join them just as foul technique, but never straight gone, well, ask her, well, why are you one of them? And then established at her end that her betrothed was one of the Wildman, and then it's not really commented. I don't know if she's going to play her part in the rest of the story, but that, or if she's early in the last episode of this episode, she is a interesting actress. It would have been nice if she is in this more, but that's unclear. They did have some nice kind of like set pieces. I do like they searched, the bits in the swamp with the mud slug was pretty like visually cool to watch. Tense, some degree of scariness. Also, the elves fighting the Wrights, that was like done very well. The CGI was done passively well, but it was definitely it was a spooky scene. It was quite like tense and scary, and it's one I can like immerse myself into. And then they find the Ents, and finally we see an Ent wife. I don't know if they're actually seen in the books, but it's seen on screen now. And with the Ent voice by Jim Broadbent, who I absolutely love, and it's a really cute, adorable scene with her and Dia kind of like talking him down and making peace, making friendship, and it's a really like well done, well executed scene, well acted. I very much enjoy it. Aranda and Theo kind of finally make peace with each other, which seems to suggest that it's probably the end of as it's not the end of their conflict, and it ends in a understandable place. I can't imagine they're really going to interact much more now. Randy goes orc hunting, and Theo returns back to the village for a healer. Isildur, I think probably goes back to the village and probably tries to like end up in Numenor at some point. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's my reactions. I'm gonna end now before I kind of stops making sense because I'm getting very slurry and tired. I need to lie down. So thanks for tuning in, and I don't actually know when these episodes come out. And I don't really seem to be catching them on release. So we'll just see when I catch the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.